Hello, boys and girls, and a warm welcome along to today's United Kingdom tour for myself, Chris Reardon. The excitement is building for me today. It really is. First of all, you might be wondering why I'm inside, but have on my rather dark... I have slipped into holiday mode. Can you tell? Can you tell? Oh, well, you're probably wondering why I'm wearing my dark glasses. Am I possibly in anticipation of hot weather at my mini holiday? Coming in just a few hours' time, yes, the day has arrived. In just, I don't know, what's the time now? In just about 12 hours' time, I shall be jumping in my little vehicle, my little Toyota Aygo, and rushing up the motorway to my dear sister's house in Lincolnshire. And apparently, but I'm sorry, bless me, Suko, for I have sinned in advance. Okay, so Suko, I haven't actually sinned yet, but I will be sinning later on today because my dear sister has my beloved sausage rolls standing by for me in her accommodation. How marvellous is that? Yes, we've got a bingay tonight in West 5, and from there I shall be travelling up north. Now, of course, you are seeing this programme a week behind, aren't you? Do you remember a couple of months ago I said to you I intended to make the show more current? Well, this is the last one that is recorded a week ahead. All right, when I come back from my... So actually, while you're watching this one now, I am on my way home. Do you see what I mean? Because we are a week ahead. So the next show you'll see will be only probably a couple of days after I've arrived back from my sister's house. I intend to take the little camera up there and the roving microphone, and we see if we can get a little show done up there as well. All right, so I can't wait. Can't wait. Now, so why have I got the dark glasses on? You can already see the shirt. Well, I'm wearing a sleeveless shirt today. A sleeveless... You're getting quite excited seeing my arms, aren't you? I can tell. I'm wearing a sleeveless shirt today because I'm slipping now into holiday mode. But why have I got the dark glasses on? I'll tell you why. I've got a bit of a bad eye. Now, do you want to see? It's not nice. It's not nice. This came up last night. I'm going to show you just very quickly. Just very quickly, all right? Are you looking? Just very quick. There you are. Can you see? Bad eye, and it's kind of half closed up. Now, fortunately, I can still see perfectly clearly out of it. It's not obstructed my vision at all, unless, of course, it gets any worse between now and later, which I hope it doesn't. It got a bit worse last night in the Golden Lion because it was so hot in there. Once again, another busy Monday night. A very busy Monday night in there, so I was quite pleased how that went last night. But, of course, I'm away for the next 2 Mondays. Now, why am I away for 2 Mondays, you may be asking? That's why I've got the dark glasses on. I've got a bit of a bad eye today, okay? And I don't think it looks very pleasant, so we'll cover it up, especially for you. Just imagine me with 2 perfectly nice-looking eyes. I know it's hard. So I shall be off for the next 2 Mondays. Now, why am I off for 2 Mondays, you're probably asking yourself? Because I'm only away for a week. Well, unfortunately, I had a bit of sad news last week. One of my uncles died. It was my mum's brother, actually. Regular viewers of the show, listeners to the show, will know that my mum died in 2000. Well, her brother died last week. That was Uncle Michael, 77. And he had a stroke on Sunday. I think it was on the Sunday morning. Apparently he had a stroke. He had his breakfast. And then he was in the toilet and suddenly cried out for my auntie. And she went in and was just like humped over. And, well, really, that was it. They took him to hospital, St Thomas's Hospital in London. And a very good hospital, very clean. I have to say, we often hear stories here in the UK of how dreadful the hospitals are. Not very clean, that sort of thing. But I have to say, very clean hospital. The staff were very pleasant. The nurses, there seemed to be on off of them. The only thing I would criticise about the hospital was the car park. It's the tiniest car park I've ever seen in a hospital. I mean, fortunately, I was going there at 8 o'clock at night and 2 o'clock in the morning to go and visit my uncle. The car park tiny. I don't know how you'd get in there, to be honest, during a busy weekday or something like that. Anyway, went up to see him after he'd been rushed to hospital, and he was like just in bed, completely unconscious, and they told us he probably wouldn't wake up. and apparently it was a massive stroke. So is that a bleed in the head, I believe, or something like that? And they didn't give him anything at all. No, not a drip, nothing by mouth, nothing at all. Absolutely nothing at all. I don't know the reasons for that. I tend to think, well, I'm not a doctor or a nurse. They know what they're doing. And last week, a couple of days after he was admitted to hospital, I think it was the Wednesday or the Thursday, he passed away. So very sad there. Of course, his wife, my Auntie Renee, in pieces. And he has a daughter, Susan, who's actually older than me. It's quite nice, actually, to have a cousin who's older than me. And we'll be having a funeral on the other Monday that I'm away from the Golden Line. So there we are. So a bit sad news for me, really. There were actually three. There was my mum, Uncle Michael, and Auntie Brenda, who's still around, and they are that order in age, actually. My mum was the oldest one, Michael was the next one, and Auntie Brenda was the little baby. The three of them, and I keep in contact with Auntie Brenda, usually once every week or once every couple of weeks by telephone. So got a funeral to go to, and funnily enough, I always remember Uncle Michael just after my mum's funeral saying to me, "As you get older, you..." Oh, just ignore that phone. 1 minute. Let me just turn it off. I'm not going to be interrupted while I'm telling you these little stories today. I remember Uncle Michael just after Mum's funeral, and he says to me, "As you get older, you will find that you go to more funerals." And I suppose that really is the case for all of us, isn't it? So there's a funeral to go to. My cousin did ring me up and ask me if I wanted to say something at the funeral. Which, to be honest, I think is quite brave, really, because once I get going, you can't... I mean, it'd be a 3 or 4 hour service, really, when you think about it, wouldn't it? But it's, got on well with my uncle and everything, but we weren't really that close. I don't think I'd know a lot to say, really. I wouldn't know what to say. Probably... If it was someone a bit closer, then I would, but I don't know what to say. Wouldn't know what to say, so I kind of declined that. You need to know what you're going to talk about, don't you? And I had a long think about, well, what do I know? I don't really know that much, so I declined that. But anyway, so a funeral coming up there. Not been a very good year for a few of us, has it? We've had mums die and uncles. Oh, terrible. But one of the things of life, isn't it? Now, there is an email address to the show. As always, it's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. We were having a bit of a laugh, actually, at the bingo last night. And talking about karaoke, that sort of thing. We're not doing the karaoke now on Mondays. I told you, it's from one thing to the other, dear. It really is. So we do the bingo all night. I said it'd be quite nice to have a hymn. I think we would have a hymn karaoke or something like that. We all sing hymns, which is just an idea. And then I kind of thought to myself, well, we do that at church really anyway, don't we? You know, you got your words in front of you and the other bits and pieces. And then there was a girl in there last night called Maria. Well, I burst into song, didn't I? I burst into song. Maria, I just met a girl named Maria, and something in your eyes. I don't know the words. La da 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 da. Who sung that? Does anyone remember? Maria, I'll never stop singing Maria. And that was one of my first ever 45 records. You know, the little records, the 45 RPM ones. It was one of my first records, that Maria. I didn't buy it. It just seemed to be in the cupboard. It can't have been mine. It must have been my mum's or something like that. Or maybe I picked it up from a jumble sale. That was always a good place to get music from. Older music that no one wants anymore. They used to take records and that to jumble sales, scout jumble sales. Of course, myself and my mother used to help at the local scout jumble sale because I was in the scouts. And one thing, before it would open, I'd always have a good rummage through the records, see if there's anything there worth buying, and you'd buy them, you know, for dirt cheap. But always a good place to get records and things like that. Probably My guess is records such as that would be picked up, and some of them quite valuable, I would have thought. It's already going on. It's all very well going on these collectors' sites and things like that. But there you do pay a bit of an arm and a leg for some stuff, don't you? I know. You know my friend Justin, who runs the Steamcoats. He's away at the moment. Where's he gone to? I think he's gone to Los Angeles at the moment. My friend Justin, who runs the pub I work at usually on a Friday night. Yeah, he collects one of the things. Well, I say one of the things, yes. One of the things he collects is records. He was tempted the other day, it's outrageous, to buy this new thing. And what it is like a plastic globe. And inside, you get about 6 or 7 or 8 people sitting in this globe in the garden. I mean, what's the point of that? I can't remember exactly what it was called now. Very strange looking contraption. It's like a big plastic ball, okay? And I think inside there's a table in the middle and 6 people sit around it. And this whole globe turns round. I mean, you'd have to have a big garden, wouldn't you? I can't honestly see Joy in Acton sitting in her living room in one of those globes turning round. It looks very futuristic, I have to say. But I'm trying to work out when you would sit in such a thing. Is it like I wonder if it's like a sort of mobile greenhouse or a mobile conservatory. Very odd looking thing, dear. Really odd. Has anyone seen one of those? A plastic ball that you just 6 or 7 people sit inside it around. Just sit. I don't know what you do in there. You just sit there talking to each other, really, don't you? Well, I'd be quite happy to sit there talking in the garden. Much nicer. I hope next week to spend some time in my sister's garden. While I'm up there, she's all ready for me. Apparently, the spare room was being polished and hoovered yesterday, all ready for my anticipated return to Lincolnshire. Yes, I'm gonna have a little look around there up there. Between you and me, this is the longest time I've spent up there a week, and I am having a little look around there to see what it would be like to live up there. You know, we have had this discussion before, haven't we? I'm sort of wondering whether I should move up so I could be nearer to her and the children, because you know, I do feel a little bit lonely down there. I think it'd be quite nice to be nearer to them. Obviously not there all the time, but I don't know. So I'll just see what it's like. Of course, I've already had the list of things that the children want as presents while I'm up there. Well, it's my own fault. It's my own fault, isn't it, for asking. See, the thing is, as you know, I don't spend an awful lot of money myself. So I save it. And when I go up there, I like to buy them little bits and pieces. Tracy, of course, she's got her own house with her boyfriend now. She wants a tumble dryer. A tumble dryer. I mean, it's a bit much, isn't it, really, when you think about it? A tumble dryer she wants. I mean, you can understand someone asking for a dustpan and brush, or some window cleaning equipment for the house. Even go so far as to say perhaps a rug or something for the living room. Oh no, dear, a tumble dryer. All right, well, she didn't really ask for that. I said to her, do you want a tumble dryer? Because I know she's been after one for a while. She hasn't got the money for it. So she said yes. So I should be getting her that. I should be getting Gary. Now, Brian in Canada, this is on your advice, actually. I found out from Gary, because he's recently passed his motorcycle, the writing test. What's that called? Oh, the theory test. I think he's already passed the practical, but he's now passed we have various different tests here to, so that you can get the licence to drive a bike. He's passed the theory test. And on your advice, Brian, I rang him up and says, what sort of safety gear? Oh, I've ordered some levers. I said, oh, have you ordered the proper ones with the pads, not the fashion ones? I mean, I've got a couple of leather jackets downstairs, but in all honesty, you know, they're not really for motorbike riding, more of a fashion accessory. Oh, no, he's been to the proper motorbike shop and he's bought all this stuff and a crash helmet. Really, you know, top-class crash helmet. So I said to him I would buy him the crash helmet, so he was very pleased about that. And I'm actually going, I'm very pleased to say, I will be going to the motorcycle shop with him to collect his crash helmet. So hopefully I'll take the camera with me and we'll get a couple of pictures of that. And little Jimmy, 11 years old, well, he wants a new Chelsea football kit. And I said to my sister, because I asked my sister that, I said, what does he want? Get him a Chelsea football kit. I said, hasn't he got one of those? Oh, they've changed it. I said, what, again? I'm sure they only changed it last year. Excuse me, it's all wrong, isn't it? Years ago, football teams, they would have the same kit for years and years. Now they change it every year so that people like, people with children mainly, not grown-ups, people with children, they have to go out and buy the next kit because they have to have the, so you know what the children are like, they have to have the same kit as what's being played on the pitch and what have you. I always remember Chelsea as blue, don't you? Chelsea always wore a blue strip when I was little for years and years. So I don't know. I have no idea what colour it is now. I just think it's a bit wrong for these football clubs. I mean, they're just, let's face it, it's not for the sport anymore, is it? It's another money-making exercise. That's all it is. Football is a money-making exercise. And if everyone woke up to that fact, I think, well, maybe there wouldn't be any football after that. I mean, some of these players are very good, don't get me wrong, but some of the wages are astronomical, dear. I just think it's all a bit wrong. I really do, making people buy new kits all the time. But I don't mind myself, if it's for my nephew. So there we are. I've got my shopping list for when I get up there, and I'll give myself, my sister something as well. I've also got to get some more Bingay prizes. One of the prizes we give away is little cuddly toys. And was it last week, I think it was, I just got rid of the last one. The last one went. So I should be going up there and getting lots of cuddly toys and bringing those back as more prizes. If you want to have a look at the Bingay website, there's pictures of the various little nights that we have a lot of fun at. You can find that at www.bingay.com, all right? www.bingay.com. All right, now, let's... one other thing I wanted to say. In my cupboard, the bathroom cupboard, I've had all these little Mickey Mouse soaps on my various trips to Disney in Florida and Euro Disney. You always get little Mickey Mouse soaps. I say they're Mickey, but it's a Mickey Mouse box. Okay, it's a Mickey Mouse box. And hang on a minute, let me just go and get one. It's much easier to describe it if I'm actually looking at it. Stay there a second. It's only in the bathroom out here. There we are. That's it. I've got it now. Mickey Mouse soaps, right? Here it is. Mickey Mouse soaps, which they give you in Disney. But the soap itself is just a normal bar of soap. Oh, yes, it has. It has got a little picture of Mickey Mouse on it. His two ears and his little face, bless his heart. And I was wondering, I don't know if you use soap. I think most people now actually use a shower gel, don't they? Do you know, I'm not sitting on my cushion today, so I'm sitting a bit low down. And when the soap gets small, I've noticed it keeps breaking in half. Okay? And then when it's broken in half, I keep dropping the thing and it nearly falls down the blooming plug. Unfortunately. Is there a way, because then, after I've dropped it a few times, I'm fed up with this, and then I go and get another bar, because I get fed up dropping the blooming thing. Is there a way of getting these little bits of soap all together and making a new bar so as not to waste? Remember, care for the environment, dear. Care, care, care. Do not waste things, my mum says. My mum said, do not waste things. And I don't like to waste things, you know that, dear? Throwing things away like that. It's a shocking, dear. So, how can we get all these little bits of soap and not have to chuck them away down the toilet, along with the goldfish? No, that's an awful thing to say, isn't it? How many people, come on, be honest now. How many people have had goldfish or tropical fish or something like that, and the fish die? What do you do with them? Please don't tell me you chuck them down the toilet. Oh, you do, don't you? I think that's an awful way to go, dear. All that little goldfish that's given you so much pleasure, and your way of dealing with it is to chuck it down the toilet. What an awful way to go, dear. Is that what you're going to have done to yourself? Chucked down the toilet? I know, you're going to say to me now, it doesn't matter once you're gone, aren't you? Aren't you awful? Poor goldfish. Anyway, back to this. So, is there some way of putting all these little bits of soap together so you don't have to chuck them away? It just seems a terrific race to me. Do let me know. The email address to the programme is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. If you're watching the show, you'll notice a big black thing behind me on the wall. That is actually my cowboy hat, as sent from Susan. I think it was probably sent from Susan and her cat. Because it is one big happy family, isn't it, Susan? That's what's on the wall. Although, I have to say, I'm looking at it on my picture in front of me. Does that actually look like a cowboy hat to you on the wall? Have I got to display it some other way? Because it just looks like a round... Now that I've told you, it probably does look like a cowboy hat. But I need to find some other way of displaying that next to the mirror ball there. Any suggestions? Please, as always, let me know. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Quick look at Mickey Mouse before I put him away. There we are. Right, lots of emails today. Oh, incidentally, we're now on a new video hosting site as well as YouTube. We are now on, there was YouTube, Current TV. We're now on Blip TV as well. Okay, Blip TV, and quite frankly, the picture quality on the Blip TV is really very good. I've been having a look around at some of these other free video hosting sites who are on Blip TV now as well. So if there's anyone watching via Blip TV, warm welcome along for new friends. You can never have enough friends. Never have enough friends. Now, as always, don't forget the main website for this show is unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. There you'll find the latest show and indeed all the old shows going right the way back to October 2005. We've only been doing this on video since I think it was the end of January, okay? So the videos go back to about January, but the audio side of things goes right the way back to October 2005, okay? Off with the emails then. First of all, from Anthony. Good afternoon, Anthony, who sends this message via Facebook, who says, unlike some, I hate Dallas. Because we were doing all the Dallas, and I am, of course, CR, as opposed to Chris Reardon when we're talking Dallas. I am CR, and that's all to do with the hat there, and singing Rhinestone Cowboy in the last show. Did you enjoy that? Do you know what? I sent that little bit of film around to so many people, and they were shocked. They were shocked, to be honest. That little film. If you missed it, if you're a new viewer or listener to the show, that's the last show, okay? Which was the one dated. I can't remember the show before this. Whatever that one was. What's the date now? I don't know. I think it was the 19th. Was it the 19th? Hang on, let me look it up for you. 1 second. Yes, the show dated the 19th is the one where I'm singing Rhinestone Cowboy. And I've got my red sparkling jacket on and the cowboy hat as well, okay? Anyway, Anthony says, unlike some, I hate Dallas. As for Bobby Ewing, he was better off as Man from Atlantis. And was that the one where he was wearing those... Was he wearing yellow trunks or yellow shorts and that? Looking rather butch. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember the film. Was there a little submarine they used to go down in the opening credits and all that business? Can't remember. Anyway, Anthony is trying to get... Anthony's in the UK, incidentally, and he's trying to get Man from Atlantis on DVD. Does anyone know if that's available? The thing is, if you're in the States and it's available, it may not play here. It would have to be one of those all-region DVDs. I'll tell you what, Anthony, one of the places I've found is good to buy old programmes that you've seen on the telly is eBay. Okay, I would type that into eBay. I got some... what was it? There was something on there... I can't remember now. Casey Jones. Casey Jones I found on there. Okay, so you may well find it on there. Just type in Man from Atlantis on eBay, ebay.co.uk, and you may well find someone's got the series on there or some of the programmes. All right? Thank you, Anthony. Just some quick ones to start off with here. It's our friend Ryan. All right, Ryan. Ryan from Kidderminster. Ryan. All right, Ryan. Do you want some of my Snickers bar? That's a little quote from the Catherine Tate show. Very talented lady who, incidentally, it looks like she's not going to be in Doctor Who, doesn't it? Catherine Tate was playing Donna Noble in the most recent series of Doctor Who, which is finished now. Did anyone see the last 3 episodes? Fantastic. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That's all I can say. Really. And Davros, who actually... Davros actually reminds me of one of our managers. He looks a bit like that. It's scary, isn't it, Davros? Eh? Anyway, Ryan writes, Chris, for goodness sake, stop overdressing on your show, please. He's referring to some of the shows where sometimes I wear a shirt and a tie. He thinks I'm overdressing. I'm only thinking of you, dear. Only thinking of you, Ryan. Just trying to look a bit smart, that's all. Today, as you can see, I'm in holiday mode. I may even undo another button on my shirt in a minute. I just don't care. I'm going to undo another button on the shirt in a minute. Thank you, Ryan. All right, Ryan. Ryan's just started DJing, haven't you? Eh? Yes. You rung me up for a few little bits of advices, and I did my best. But mainly, you've got the job yourself, Ryan. You did it, mates. Now you've got to stick at them. But don't tie yourself to one venue, okay? Do not rely on one venue. The best way to actually get DJing, and indeed any sort of entertainment jobs I've found over the years, is when you're already working. So while you're DJing, start trying to look for other jobs on other nights, okay? This is the time when you will get most of your work while you are already working. Once you're not working any nights, people start saying, oh, well, why isn't he not working anymore? Maybe he's not that good. Do you see the problem? So try and build yourself up another couple of nights, all right? Thank you, Ryan. Always pleased to help. All right, Ryan. Do you want some of my Snickers bar? Okay. Say hello to Mandy Gap. Mandy Gap is actually a drag queen who I know and has become a recent viewer to the show. Good evening, Mandy. Mandy Gap. Now, a lot of these drag queens have funny names, which they've named after something. And Mandy Gap is actually named after something on the underground. Can you tell what? The underground system here in the UK. Mandy Gap. Where has she found that name from? Mind the Gap. Very clever, isn't it? Mind the Gap. You must have heard that at underground stations. Mind the Gap. Yes. And Mandy writes, hello, my darling Chris. Firstly, I love the shows, darling, and I'm glad to see you in one of your many gardens. Thank you so much. Now, with regard to mobile phones in cars, you remember we were talking about that on the show the other day, that I personally think that you should not be allowed to use a mobile phone in the car, full stop. I have the hands-free, yes, I do use it, but I personally think there should be a law. No mobile phones in cars. I mean, I'm still seeing it a lot. People using their phones, and I see it on roundabouts. It's the worst place possibly that you can use a mobile phone is on a roundabout. And they've got one phone, they're holding it, haven't even got hands free, holding the phone like that, and they're steering with the other hand. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. I was watching someone on the television the other night. Patrick Stewart, you know, the Captain Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek The Next Generation. He was on the television the other night on a programme called Top Gear here in the UK, which is an excellent programme about cars and what have you. And he was saying he was driving at some point in Los Angeles on a freeway doing about 55 miles an hour. And he went past this woman. She had a mobile phone in one hand, a cup, this is 55 miles an hour she's driving, cup of coffee in the other hand, and steering with her elbow. It's just unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable. So I personally think you shouldn't use mobile phones in cars at all. Mandy writes, now with regard to mobile phones in cars, I think they should not be allowed, as it does take your mind off the road and the things on the road. And you are very right with regards to having two kids in the back fighting. My Richard and Judy used to do that when you were little. Or probably when they were little. And it must have had an effect on my driving, as it does when I've been on the phone. Richard and Judy. If you're in the States, you may not know, Richard and Judy are two chat show hosts here in the UK. Mandy writes, lots of things could take your mind off the road, and silence is one of them too, as I have found myself dreaming my life away while being behind the wheel, which is very dangerous, darling. One thing that has never put me off driving is when my husband Phil... Oh, I really can't read that out, Mandy Cap, if you don't mind, dear. Talking about hands and things. Mandy writes, this generally makes journeys longer as I have to pull over and well, this is another bit there I can't really read out. Thank you, Mandy. Anyway, darling, I hope to work with you soon in King's Cross. Love your work. Lots of love from Mandy Gap, the sound of the underground. So excellent email there. I did have, of course, to edit that live. I edited that letter live while we were talking. You see, I'm multitasking today. Multitasking at the same time. Thank you, Mandy. Hello to Suko, who says she wrote to me about Stargate SG-1. Now, I thought it was a film, science fiction film, because I didn't know it was a series. And Suko says it's actually a series. But her husband has a movie which is coming out at the end of July here in the UK. He loves the show, and as a fellow Trekkie, you probably will too. So I might have a little look at that, Suko. Okay? She's going to buy me the film, aren't you? Going to buy me the film. Send it through, dear. Oh, hang on, that might be a different region, mightn't it? I don't know what region we are, actually. Is it? I have no idea. I haven't got a DVD up here, have I, anyway? No, I haven't. Not sure about that, Suko. Suko's just returned from a short vacation. A vacation is an American word. A holiday, dear. A holiday. She's returned from a short holiday. Teaching dance week after next at Culture Camp. So have to work on the choreography all this week. I think I should be able to do choreography, you know, a little bit of dancing and that sort of thing. I'd quite like to be in a boy band, to be honest, Suko. You know, with like NSYNC or something like that. How do they do that dance? I shall have a go. I'm tearing up my heart when I'm with you. Da 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 da. Of course, I'd have to learn the words as well, I think. Do you mind if I open the window? 1 second. I'm very warm in here suddenly. As I say, it's not raining outside today, but it's a bit dismal, a bit overcast again today. Hope that improves, my sisters. The Saturday after camp ends, I'm going to be doing an hour-long interview show on WGBB 1240 AM. This is a radio station, obviously in the States. I love the way they have all those letters. We don't really have that here. WGBB 1240 AM radio. See, I could do their voiceovers, couldn't I? Huh? It's a Chinese-owned station, and I'm interviewing a Chinese-name painter, A. Ling Louis, author of Ye Shen, a Chinese Cinderella story, which is a book every Chinese-American child, including Jade, has. This is quite an honour, Suko says, and a rock band called Tsunami, which is pronounced just like the tidal wave, who will be performing at the Olympics in Beijing. I have a lot of homework to do just to be able to ask intelligent questions of the guests. It will be on live July the 21st and again on tape on July the 28th. And she says, I just might mention United Kingdom talk and the matinee. It could slip out. Well, I wouldn't bother with a matinee, to be honest, Suko. You know, as long as you give us a bit of a mention, then I'll be happy. Is that all right? Because it's like Honestly, that goes, I shall leave it. Don't worry. I shall leave the telephone. It will not come before you. By the way, that flashing is a little light I have in front of me that I used to actually turn. Yes, they've rung off anyway. I wonder who it was. I'm dying to know who that was now. Let me just. I can dial 1471 and find out who it was. I think I know who this is. 1 minute. Stay there a minute. I'm just having a listen. Yes, I know who that is. Yeah. But I always ring when I'm doing the show, don't they? We had Wayne the butler rung just before I was starting the show today. I said, I'll have to ring you back in a minute. He says, have you got any time to talk? I said, no, 1 minute only to hear. You're more important to me. You are, friends and listeners. You really are. Hello to Joe Morris. It's our friend Joe, who wrote and sent me a link for a truck as featured on CNN's Larry King Live. And what's so special about this truck, you may be asking yourself? Right, well, I'm going to give you the website to have a little look at it. It's phoenixmotorcars.com. phoenixmotorcars.com, okay? So you're thinking, well, it's just another truck site. No, it's not. They are about to bring out electric SUVs and trucks. How fantastic is that? Electric SUVs and trucks. But I have a dream of owning an electric car. I really do. I'm hoping, now, as you know, I've got the little Toyota Aygo, which I own now. I'm hoping my next car will be electric. At the moment, not really possible for me yet because I do too many miles. Joe writes, that's Phoenix Vehicles, are taking orders for 2010 models, which should be available in late summer 2009. They have 268 horsepower and go... Right, remember, these are electric vehicles, okay? I don't know if you've ever seen any of the news stories on electric vehicles, but often you find they don't go very fast, or they can't do the miles that are required for long journeys. We have a couple of electric cars here in the UK. One that comes to mind is the G-Wiz. Okay, literally G-Wiz, G-W-I-Z. Now, that I believe has a top speed of about 40 miles an hour, and a similar on the distance it can travel also is about 40 miles. So not really very good for me, because I actually do from my house to my places of work is 35 miles, so you can see the problem. And besides, most of these cars, the charging points are just not available yet. You can charge them at home, but where, if you get stuck out, what do you do? It's all very well having one of these electric cars, but what do you do if you get stuck out there? There's an AA man, that's the Automobile Association, one of the car breakdown services we have in the UK, or RAC or Green Flag, one of those. Do they come out with a spare battery? I wonder how that works. If you break down in an electric car because you've run out of electricity, how do they sort that out? Do they bring a spare battery? Very odd, very odd. Anyway, look at this. These cars, these new electric cars from Phoenix Motors, will go 95 miles an hour. That's an improvement, isn't it? 95 miles an hour. Joe says there are lots of electric cars. I think they call them neighbourhood electric cars due to the fact that most neighbourhood electric cars have maximum speeds of 25 miles an hour, which is roughly what I was saying to you. So the breakthrough of Phoenix and Telsa cars are the speed achievements, making them practical for actual road use. Of course, that achievement comes with a hefty price tag. The Phoenix truck is $47,000. Okay, so that's about £23,500. And the Phoenix SUV is $54,000. Yep. £27,000, but at least we are making some progress towards alternate forms of propulsion. Yeah, we are. And this always happens, though, doesn't it, Joe? when something new comes out, it's always hideously priced. I mean, the solar panels on the top of my house a few years, just 3 or 4 years ago, there's no way I could have afforded something like that. They were £40,000-50,000 I'd have on the roof. Now it's not even a fifth that, is it? So that's what happens, isn't it? A new thing. Look at the Blu-ray players. When the Blu-ray players came out first here in the UK, they were just a touch under £1,000. Now they're 200. My God, I can now go out and buy a DVD player for about £12, $24. I remember when they first came out, they were £900. Look at them now. So that's what has to happen. People have to bring it out, and people have to start buying it, and the costs come down pretty quickly. Joe says he's become a closet hyper-miler. Have you heard of this? No, I haven't. I personally, he says, have increased my mileage by 18.5% since I started consciously conserving, which would reduce my net consumption of fuel by about 200 gallons of fuel per year. Now, he says he only drives about 12,000 miles per year. Excuse me, I just want to clear my throat. That's better. You didn't hear that, did you? I got my little button knife thrown next to me, so you can't hear that. Joe says hypermilers use a variety of techniques to improve mileage, including coasting downhill. That's shotting off the engine as they coast. He says, I don't do that. I think that's illegal here in the UK. We're not allowed to do that. But yes, that must be a bit. Surely, if you turn the engine off, doesn't you get the steering lock? Oh, that could be quite... But if the steering lock's while you're going down a hill? I think also here in the UK, I think I'm correct in saying that you also have to remain in gear, even if your foot comes off the gas. I know some people come out of gear and just coast down steep hills out of gear without actually shutting the engine off. He says other things you can to improve mileage. Don't turn the air conditioning on. Over-inflating the tyres to lessen road drag. Of course, you shouldn't really over-inflate tyres because then you're, the whole idea of the tyre is that it remains in full contact with the road to stop you slipping. Especially dangerous, of course, in wet weather. Ridge running or driving off-centre. That's where you drive outside the worn tracks of the highway. Easy starts from a stopped position. Timing traffic lights, and generally increasing your space between vehicles, thereby maximising the opportunities to coast. I also think there is a chance the government will implement the 55 miles per hour speed limit again here in America to save fuel. Yeah, we had that years and years ago. I'm sure we did have that here in the UK. Can't remember when that was now. Joe says the Union of Concerned Scientists tell us that by dropping from 70 to 60 miles an hour, fuel efficiency improves by an average of 17.2%. Dropping from 75 to 55 improves fuel efficiency by 30.6%. That's pretty good, isn't it? That's a lot. However, alternate studies suggests that new vehicles are aerodynamically engineered to maximise fuel efficiency speeds of up to 65 miles an hour. So there's great debate at the effectiveness of the 55 mile an hour speed limit as it relates to fuel conservation. Joe says, I think the important thing to remember here is conservation. Chris, I think you always try to emphasise the conservation aspect as well. If everyone makes a small adjustment in their lives in an effort to lower consumption, it will have a dramatic global effect. If everyone saved 200 gallons of fuel per year with just a few minor changes in driving habits, how amazing would that be on a global scale? Which is quite true. And yet, I still see people roaring up and down the highways, speeding through traffic signals, racing away from stopped traffic to gain what? A car length before the next traffic light stops them again. Perhaps they've got more money than sense. I think they have, you see. I think they have. It's just, I see it as well here. I see it while I'm do 55 mile an hour most of the time on the motorway now. And as I say, in that little Toyota Aygo, I have had, the maximum I've had is 78 miles to the gallon. Nearly 600 miles on a tank of fuel. Now, when I was driving at 70 miles an hour, maybe a bit faster than that sometimes, when I was doing that, I was getting about 460, 470 miles to a tank. Now I'm getting nearly 600. It's a huge difference. And as I've said before, it doesn't take that long, much longer to get to your destination. Just a few minutes. Just a few minutes. Thank you, Joe, for that. Now, hi to Marsha. It's our friend Marsha. How are you, my darling? She says, hi, Chris. Thanks for giving me that name again. I went to the website and saved it. That's all right, Marsha. She says, the other day on your show, you mentioned a television show that was on people who build vacation homes in foreign houses. And what a disaster it turned out to be. Yes, it was. She said that was a few weeks ago now. Anyway, meant to write to tell you that my brother-in-law produces that show. Look, you see, you never know who's watching or listening to this, do you? I haven't seen it yet. Sometimes he sends the tapes over that he plays in the US, but I hear he has some great stories from Marsha. Thank you for that, Marsha. Yeah, I find it all a bit worrying, buying a property in another country, whether or not they speak English. So, you know, you certainly we hear a lot of stories from Spain of the Spanish government that has this land grab thing, where it would seem certainly from the way it's portrayed on TV shows here, it would seem that I've slipped down in this chair. You see, I haven't got my cushion. I just realised I was right down in that chair then, wasn't I? I could stick my feet out. Shall I move? Let me just move this down a bit and then I'll look a bit higher. There we are. How's that? Is that all right? Have I been that low for the whole show? How stupid am I? And now there's a CD in the way. Oh, hang on a minute. Dear me, is that better? There we are. I didn't realise how low down I was. Yeah, it seems that people are buying, some people, not all people, of course, some people buy property in Spain and have some of the land grabbed back. Even though they've paid the money and they've lost their life savings. You see, laws work in different countries, don't they? This is the problem. I mean, of course, if I was to buy somewhere in Australia or America, it probably wouldn't be too much of a problem for me because I know people in both those countries. Plenty of people, and a lot of them via this programme. If I wanted to buy a place in America, for example, I could speak to anyone, any of you who are watching at the moment, and you would be able to advise me. Similar with Australia. We have listeners in Iceland and various other countries. Switzerland, you could advise me. But a lot of these people, they don't know anyone and they go in and buy it. And there's all these different laws and you just don't know. So thanks for that, Marsha. Hi to our friend Robert in Iceland. Talking of Iceland, who says, Chris and dear friends of the United Kingdom Talk Show. Now, Robert is the guy who wrote to us about the polar bear that was recently shot in Iceland. I feel I need to address some points raised by Susan. Firstly, Bob says, it's offensive to suggest that the person who had to shoot the polar bear got pleasure from it. Polar bears are not native to these lands of Iceland, and we are ill-equipped to deal with this as such. In fact, Bob says, on the second visitation, a call of help went out to our Danish friends to send an expert to rescue the bear. It's silly to suggest that we allow it to just wander off. My understanding is that the bear can swim large distances, but the distance back to Greenland is quite simply far too far. I do not know who was involved in this past visitation, my dear friends, but I know my Icelandic brothers and sisters to the extent that taking of a life is not something undertaken with ease. Iceland does not even have an army, and to the best of my knowledge has not invaded any countries since its creation. A proud record of a peace-loving country. Indeed, many would suggest that keeping on animals in cages equally is a poor thing to do. And for the record, I do not and place value upon the work done by zoos around the world, and personally applaud the work that people like Susan do looking after animals, as Susan looks after beautiful cats, lions, tigers. Beautiful. For they do make a difference and practice what they preach. Returning to the polar bear, hindsight is wonderful, and I'm sure if we have another visit that lessons learnt will be put into practice. But like everything, you have to treat each event on its own merits, trying to do the best and usually failing. That, though, is the human condition, and that's from Bob the Viking. So thanks for that, Bob. A little bit on the polar bear that travelled across there a while. And look at who it is here. It's Judith in Canberra, Australia. Hello, Judith. Hi, Chris. This is Judith from Canberra, writing into your show, which I watched with my husband, Terence, the one who almost forgot me. I hope you had a go at him for that. Judith, did you tell him off, my dear? Yes, no breakfast for a week, my dear. My daughter Kayleigh wanted to mention that her her fish are called Rocky, Granite and Pebbles, who swim around in our pond outside all day. Oh, Kayleigh, do you feed the fish? They're nice names for fish, aren't they? Rocky, Granite and Pebbles. Yes. I had a goldfish once. I did. We had a few goldfish, and we always called them Goldie. Don't ask me why. Seems a good name for goldfish, don't you think? Goldie the goldfish. I think we had 2 or 3 of those. I used to swim around all day in its little bowl. Now, funnily enough now, Judith, now I think about it, I think it's a bit cruel to have fish swimming around in a tank. It's just so small, isn't it? Just a tiny little round and round they go. All day long. Round. They must get bored. Don't you think? Surely, or do goldfish, someone says goldfish only have minds, they can only remember the last 5 minutes. Well, it went round that bowl in less than 5 minutes. Judith says a little bit about myself. I am the breadwinner in a house. I go to work while my husband stays at home and looking after the children, all 6 of them. I find this quite satisfying, but some of the comments my husband gets for staying at home are quite backwards in thinking. There are still people, mainly women, who think it's the man's job to go out and earn the money. Terence isn't a slacker, though. He has landscaped the garden, painted the house, recarpeted all the rooms, built a pergola and deck with outdoor kitchen, and has done his home cinema. He's a very, very talented chap, and he builds the loudspeakers as well, of course, doesn't he? Judith says, in reference to people who don't go to work and get benefits instead, we have them here in Australia too, and some of them have stated they will not go to work while the government is prepared to pay them. I don't agree with that, so yes, Chris, I back you up fully in getting those slackers off welfare and into paid work, and that's again from Judith. Thank you for that, Judith. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the lady going to work and the man looking after the children. As you know, girls, how hard it is to have young children around you 24 hours a day. So in this case, Terence looked after it. Just as hard work, if you ask me. Phone's going mad today, isn't it? Anyway, not to worry. Thanks for that one. Interestingly enough, I just saw a programme on television last week about benefit fraud here in the UK. On I think it was on BBC One. I can't remember now. But anyway, on this programme, here's an interesting situation for you to think over. You might want to comment on this on the email. And there's also we're running out of time, aren't we? Oh my word! And I've got so many emails to do here. Oh dear me! We're going to have a couple of email catch-up programs, I think. There was this program on the telly last week, benefit fraud. Okay. So people are employed here in the UK to try and get people who are claiming benefit where they shouldn't usually be doing it, whether they're doing other jobs or even voluntary work. I believe even if you're doing a lot of work for nothing and not being paid for it, I think sometimes that can affect your benefits. Anyway, so here's the situation. There's a bloke from Bosnia, okay? And he's got 4 children. He's claiming benefits, but he doesn't find that's enough money to pay to bring up his children. So he then goes out and gets a job. Now, the restaurant owner knows that this person is on benefits, therefore pays him less money, a pittance of just £25 a day to work in this restaurant. Who's at fault? Who should be prosecuted? The guy who is collecting the benefits and working, albeit for very, very little money. He could not live on the money he's earning at the restaurant. Or the restaurant owner for employing that person at very, very low wages. Interesting that, don't you think? Whatever your thoughts are on that, do let me know. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Now, I've got a lot of emails here, which I'm going to take with me up north and hopefully read on the next shows when I come back. And I have got quite a lot of emails still to get through here. And that's it. I'm now off for a week. Now, there will be no break in this programme. Remember that. I'm using this week off for the shows to catch up. And then when we come back again, we'll be more current, OK? Thanks, as always, for watching or listening today. Do join in by email. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. I'll see you on the next show. Bye-bye now.